Pakistan is literally in the dark. The country is facing one of its worst electricity outages in months. The outage is the second major grid failure in 3 months.
Pakistan's forex reserves, they've fallen to lowest in 9 years to about $3.7 billion.
Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said that his government was ready to accept the IMF demands to resume a stalled loan program. The Pakistan government is mulling to discontinue the power sector subsidy.
Pakistan's currency plummeted to a record low. According to the data of the State Bank of Pakistan, the Pakistani rupee slid by 9.61%. This marks the largest single-day decline in both absolute and percentage terms.
Devastated by the floods, inflation, political instability, and economic mismanagement, Pakistan is on the verge of becoming yet another economic graveyard of South Asia. As of 2022, Pakistan has loaded with PKR 59.7 trillion debt, which is a whopping 89.2% of the entire Pakistan economy. Pakistan's economic crisis is not a new occurrence, and since 75 years of its independence, it has suffered several economic crises. The IMF alone has bailed out Pakistan 13 times in just the last 35 years, and the numbers will also increase in the future. However, in the last few years, the inherent factors have intensified and caused a sudden spike in Pakistan's ill economic condition. For instance, there has been a 25% increase in the overall debt from last year, while the total external debt of Pakistan alarmingly rose by 35% in a single year. Therefore, this video will mainly analyze the economic mismanagement of Pakistan in recent years and how several factors together caused its economy to push to the hem of collapse. So, please like, share, and subscribe to impress YouTube algorithms, which will motivate us to bring more exciting and knowledgeable videos like this. It is pertinent to understand that the economic issues of Pakistan have not been a recent phenomenon but a culmination of bad economic policies, political turmoil, terrorism, fundamentalism, inherent corruption, and military dominance over the years that has morphed into a giant snowball bomb, which, if bursts, will impact not only the country but also the world. Not a single government in Pakistan's history has completed its full tenure, which shows that political instability has been a dominant phenomenon in the country. This led to neglect in the development and economic planning for the country as well. The recent backdrop of ousting Imran Khan is directly linked to the country's political culture and how the government makes decisions. As the politics of Pakistan majorly revolves around India and governments are volatile, they make decisions not based on pure economic reasoning but vote bank politics. This ultimately blows up the prospects of building long-term fiscal policy to control the debt miasma and maintain sustained economic growth. Therefore, Pakistan is the textbook example of how political instability has the potential to damage the growth of the country. Analyzing the history, it can be observed that Pakistan's inherent culture of religious fundamentalism never allowed it to break the shackles of age-old traditions and usher into the modern capital formation. The same fundamentalism is being further used by Imran Khan and his party, Tehreek-e-Insaf, to create divisions, which can potentially be the last nail in the coffin in starting the civil war within the nation. As the homegrown terror groups such as Tehreek-e-Taliban are now vying for power in Pakistan, the civil war would not only be on one or two fronts but many. However, recent developments, including floods in these regions, incessant violence by the army, and constant bombings by rebel groups, tell a different tale. As the absolute authority is in the hands of the military establishment, the major decisions are not based on the population's needs but on the military. This is apparent from the high allocation of budget heads to the military, 17.5%. In fact, the total percentage of military expenditure and debt repayment for the 2022-23 budget is a whopping 47% of the total budget. It means that almost half of the budget expenditure is allocated for seemingly no productive use if we analyze it in purely economic terms. Another significant amount is directly pumped into the economy through subsidies and freebies. As it is often accused that China's debt trap policy has been the cause of Pakistan's current state, we have to look deep down into the issue and understand that China is only the catalyst in the already dying economic health of the country. But why? China proposed an overgenerous loan at a very high interest rate for building China-Pakistan Economic Corridor (CPC) under its BRI megaproject. Under BRI, a total of 26 projects, including dams, roads, bridges, and water port, are being constructed by Chinese companies and workers all around the country. Interestingly, as no Pakistani companies or citizens are directly employed, the money is going back to China, and nothing beneficial in terms of employment or allied benefits is happening for Pakistani citizens. Instead, the projects have caused significant distress for the people living around these projects. Therefore, China's Belt and Road Initiative seems to have failed, given that the major projects under the BRI have not yet been able to generate money or completed on time as expected. Moreover, as the loans are taken on very high interest rates compared to global standards, Pakistan's external debt servicing has also risen. Now Pakistan is taking loans at high commercial rates to repay the past loans. As foreign investments are concerned, the political instability and security lapses are the most discouraging aspect for foreign investors to invest in the country. Apart from that, Pakistan's warmongering attitude towards India has caused billions of dollars to be washed away. Another discouraging factor is the recurring attacks on foreign nationals. This can be corroborated by the recent terrorist attacks on Chinese and Sri Lankan nationals. Moreover, with the increasing poverty, Pakistan, which is already a factory of terrorists, might create terror groups with more people having nothing to lose. It will also make the existing organizations powerful, among which ISIS-Khorasan is the primary concern for the entire region. The Pakistani rupee is free falling and has been hovering around the value of 220 compared to the US dollar. Resultantly, the Pakistani rupee has become the worst performing currency in South Asia, with a fall of nearly 16.5% in June alone. The situation has further worsened due to high inflation all around the world. In Pakistan, inflation has reached 300% due to floods and IMF conditions. And if, as it seems, the world economy plunges into a recession, Pakistan won't have much air to breathe. Now, going back to the original question as to why Pakistan's failure will also impact the world and India. Pakistan being a nuclear-powered country makes it too big to fail. If nuclear warheads come into the hands of terrorists, the world might suffer irreparable damage. With a massive population of 220 million, the critical thing to note is that a big country like Pakistan brings a huge stake in the world economy. That's why global leadership cannot ignore the elephant in the room. Pakistan's economic crisis is not equal to Sri Lanka's. The reason is that when a country with a vast population on the brink of collapse has nuclear weapons and is a womb of terrorism,